If I was to say to you comparison screen on Football Manager, you'd probably think of that one where you get one left back and compare him with another left back and see which one's better out of the two with the attributes and all that kind of stuff, don't you? That's what I'm talking about, aren't I? No, I'm talking about the other comparison screen.
1, 2, and we're off.
Hello everybody and welcome back to another video. My name's Pokes and thank you for joining me at this channel and this video. This is the first in a bunch of videos maybe that I'm calling underrated. And basically what we're going to be looking at across sort of this variety of videos as time goes on are underrated screens and features of Football Manager 2021, and maybe as we get into a new game we'll carry it on into another game as well. But I want to look at particular features of the game that seem to be underused, undervalued and maybe unappreciated by the bog standard Football Manager players such as myself. We're going to be taking one feature every one of these videos and just sort of showcasing it really. To be honest, a lot of these features that I'm going to talk about are going to come from you. Even the one I'm going to talk about today comes from you. I was on Twitch streaming and somebody introduced me to this screen, and ever since it has been so helpful for me, and I just feel like the rest of the world needs to know about it. And so if you know of other undervalued, underused screens or features in the game, then do let me know in the comments below. We'd love to know, firstly, if you know about the one I'm just about to share with you, but also any screens that you think nobody seems to know about this, or talk about this screen or use this feature. Let me know, because partly just for my own selfish purposes, I want to know about it, but let's let everybody know. Let's let this be a conversation rather than a monologue. It's monologue, that's the word, monologue. So today I want to introduce you, if you don't already know. To be honest, I bet most people know about the screen. You probably know about it, don't you? You probably know about it. Let me introduce to you the comparison screen, not for individual players, but for your team as a whole. So let me introduce to you what I call the Analysts Team Comparison page that is worth having a little look at on Football Manager 2021. This is how you get to it. You go to your team report and then click on Analyst Report, and then down at the bottom there you've got Comparison. Click on that and up it comes in all its table and lines glory. Now maybe you've used this before, maybe you haven't, maybe you've used this at a certain degree, maybe you've seen it but can't find it. If you're anything like me, often people show me screens and I'm like, that's an amazing screen, and then I forget where it is. Well, that's where it is. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share with you how I've used this screen, particularly when it comes to my team that I'm managing at the moment, which is Grorud IL, who in the Norwegian league, starting the second tier of Norwegian football. I've managed to get them up to the Eliteserien, which is the Norwegian Prem, and I'm now season 7 with them. You can watch that actually live on Twitch. I stream 2 nights a week, usually a Wednesday and a Friday. So do jump on there and join me over on Twitch. And of course, if you're enjoying this video and you think it's helpful and you enjoy it, whatever, hit the like button. And if you want to follow along for the rest of the underrated series, then hit the subscribe button as well. We'd love to have you part of the journey on all this. But here it is, the Analysis Team Comparison screen. And what this really is showing you in a nutshell, how your team compares to the teams in the rest of the league. So if you've just come up a league, for example, this is what happened to me and this is how I used it. I got promoted from the first division of Norwegian football into the Prem, and I really wanted to see how my team compares and where the gaps are, where the holes are, where it really needs improvement, particularly when it comes to the attributes of the players. And this is exactly what it shows you. Here we are at a first glance, and you've got here along the top, you've got general, all positions, goalkeepers, defence, midfield, attack, physical, mental and technical. There it brings you at the bottom there the list of the relevant attributes when you're looking at those particular things. So you've got very general attributes here, including things like the general elements of the player's average height, average weight, age, international caps, youth caps. Below my head you can't see, but there are average player value, the numbers of players that are unavailable as well are in there, and the average wage is just down here as well. So you can see the sort of the general things there. You then move along to all positions, and these are attributes attributes that would impact all positions, such as passing, you've got there, you've got first touch, you've got strength, work rate, leadership, as well as aggression there, and also that kind of thing, and decision making. I think that far left one is as well. So you've got the sort of general ones. You then move on to the goalkeeper attributes, and I don't need to go through all of them here, but then you've got the defence attributes, midfield, attack, physicals, and some of them do pop up more than once, but what they've managed to do is kind of categorise them into kind of helpful groups for you already, which is good. Okay, and then you look at the second row down there, and it will show you goalkeepers, defenders, midfielders, and strikers. At this point, you can indicate which of your kind of positions you're wanting to show and incorporate in these tables. So for example, I want to look at my strikers and see how my strikers compare. So the best way to do that would be to untick all of them, look at strikers only, and then click on attack. And straight away you can see how your attackers, oh actually no, it's already clicked out of them. So you need to make sure those boxes are unticked. You can see here how my strikers compare in their attacking attributes with the other teams in the league and their attacking attributes. For example, on average for finishing in the league I'm in is a 10.88 for finishing for the strikers. My average is 11, so I am actually slightly above average when it comes to this league. The top being Rosenborg, who are 12.75 average, and the worst being Mjøndalen, who are 9.33. However, if you look over here, this next attribute here is long shots. The average is 9.38. My average is 8.40, which is obviously below the average for the league. You can see here really a glance quickly as well. If you take a little look at the line, the line represents the average, and then it shows you where you are in terms of the blue chart there. So as you look across, if you can look generally across, and you can see here I'm sort of a couple of attributes above. The one behind the camera here is pace, that I'm above average for. Jumping reach is another one, and finishing I'm above average. Whereas the other ones, such as long shots, heading, I'm below average. Anticipation, I'm below average. Off the ball, I'm below average. And then there's also at the end there acceleration, which I'm above average. You can't see it, but you just got to trust me, I am. So there are two different ways you can do this, and I want to just sort of show you. Well, no, there are probably more than two ways to do it. Why have you just said there are two ways, Ben? That's not the truth. There are many, many, many ways you may want to use this screen, but I'll share with you two ways that come into my mind that you might use it. You've got to cover all your bases these days, don't you? Otherwise, the people will be like, oh, there are more than two ways to use that screen. Oh. All comments help. Sign. Just leave a comment. Leave a comment. I'm happy for you to leave a comment. Okay, so the two ways are simply, the first way is more of the general outlook, which is really looking at this page as it comes and going, oh, look, isn't this great? And you can see an average there. You see attackers, we're all right. You might want to switch and go to somewhere like midfielders. Let's take a look at the midfielders now. And suddenly you can see my midfield. When I compare it, well, actually showing all of my team, it's way below. But I imagine if I then show all my midfield, yeah, look at that. My midfield in general is very below average when it comes to this team. I feel at this point I want to give you a little bit of a taste as to what my team looks like. You look at the Norwegian Prem, and let me show you the season preview for this. I'm actually into May now. We've played close to half our games now, but the beginning of the season I was rated to be 1,000 to 1, 16th position, bottom of the league. Now that is ridiculous because I've spent 2 seasons in this league and I've come 11th in both seasons. So I'm not the worst in the league. Come on. However, when we go back into it, you can see that my team are a little bit below average, so I probably have got some work to do here, really, if I do want to begin to try to make them a bit of a better team. Because you can see here with the midfielders, I am below average for pretty much all of my midfield. So that immediately, at my first glance, can show, right, I need to boost my midfield. I think that is a really simple, quick way to look at this screen that I think is reasonably helpful. But I think there is a more in-depth way to use this screen as well, and I'm about to tell you right about now. The second way that I think you could use this screen at a greater depth if you're inclined, and my experience with Football Manager shows me that people are inclined to do quite detailed analysis about stats. I know what you're like. You're a Football Manager fan. You love your stats. I know what you're like. Anyway, let me show you this Excel spreadsheet. Man, it's so hot. It's like I'm recording this in a 30-degree heat in the hottest day of the UK summer. What's worse is that I've got a fan here tempting me. It should be on, but if I put it on, all you'll literally hear is So I've just got to suffer in silence, all for this video. I hope you're impressed. Well, I'm not suffering in silence, am I? Because I'm telling you about it. So I'm suffering loudly about it. So this is what I've created off the back of looking at this screen when it comes to the sort of the average players in terms of from this league. So I've taken the average attributes and stuck them into like almost like your average profile when it comes to goalkeepers in this example in the Norwegian Premiership. Now I've done that for each position. I've done that for defenders, I've done that for midfielders, and I've done that for forwards. Now bear in mind this doesn't take into account the more nuanced sides of the kind of defensive positions. So we haven't, I haven't done one for fullbacks and centre backs. You can't quite do that. You can't quite do kind of, the different roles when it comes to attackers like poachers and pressing forwards and advanced forwards and all those sorts of stuff. You can't go to that kind of level of detail. But what you can do is have this average looking player. And so what that now means is that when I'm exploring a player, what I can do is I can bring up my average player and say, hey, does this player fit the average of this league? Is he above average? Is he below average? Where I'm at the moment with Grorud is that I need at least average. I don't think I'm quite ready. I haven't got the money for one. I've got no money for decent transfers. I'm doing all right wage budget, but not enough to get the kind of the world-class players in. So for me, if I can start to hit the average for all of my players more and more, that means naturally the team will begin to naturally improve and hopefully over seasons build to a more stable Elitserien side rather than one that's rocky, voted 1,000 to 1 to get relegated. Now, the thing to bear in mind when you're creating like an Excel spreadsheet like this, or when you're thinking about the average player, is that obviously you're not necessarily going to find a player that you can realistically get who is better than the average attributes for every element of this that this table shows. So you've got to kind of take the rough with the smooth and go, okay, yeah, I will have that and I won't have that, and that might help you. But just want to let you know that it's not as quite as straightforward as, well, let's get a player that is better than every attribute that is written down there, and that'll be fine, because it's not likely to happen. You know what it's like. Some players have got really, really low attributes in certain areas just for a certain reason, but then they might be way above average in some other ones. So one thing that I've begun to do and begin to explore is looking across at these average attributes and saying I'm beginning to pick up, that kind of a 12, 11 for the key attributes is pretty key. A 13 is pretty good as well. That's sort of the average player, really. You're looking at somewhere between 12 and 13 for their important attributes. And so then what it then looks like when I come back to my squad screen, and one of the players that I've brought in for this season on loan is this guy called Page, and I look at his key attributes, and you see here actually that most of them are above the average for those key attributes for a striker. We were looking at dribbling, finishing, first touch, technique, and things like that. They are above the kind of 12, 13 mark. He's like, look, 16 for dribbling here, 16 for first touch, headings 14, passing is 10, a little bit below obviously, but technique 14. You then go over to the physicals and you see agility 16, acceleration 15, pace is 15. See, determination is 15 as you look into the mental set. You see straight away at a glance, this guy is definitely better than most people in that Premier League. He is better than average. So it was a no-brainer for me. He's only 500k. I can get him on loan. I haven't got the money to buy him yet, but if I get him on loan for a couple of seasons, maybe I can look to be buying him some point soon. So you see how those average attributes just helped me to see this player is worth getting. Straight away. As it is, my scouts still aren't great, so I can't rely on the star ratings here too much. So I've got to go on their attributes when I haven't seen them play, get them in on loan. And as you can see here, he's in the Prem so far this season. He's played 5 and he's scored 4 goals. So he's doing all right for me. His average rating, you can't quite see behind my head here, but it's 7.32 for this season so far. Obviously, we're only 6-7 games. Well, actually, he's only played about 6 games this season, so we're still early days, but still 7.32. Not bad, if I say so myself. This is it. It's as simple as that. I think this is a properly underrated screen on Football Manager, and I'm so grateful. Shout out to FMLlama, who is a great YouTube content creator who shared this screen with me in a stream, which led me to find out about it and led me to start using it. So I'll put the link to his channel below this video. He knows what he's doing when he's talking about Football Manager. So shout out to him. Do you use this screen? Is this common knowledge to you and many others. Maybe I'm just living in a black box and don't understand these things, but maybe you do. Stick it in the comments. Do you use the screen? How do you use the screen if you use it in a different way? And also, do you know any other underrated, underused, undervalued screens on Football Manager 2021? Any features that you think, hey, people don't use this enough and they really should use it? Then let me know in the comments below. We'd love to hear your thoughts. If you have liked this, do hit the like button, hit the subscribe button and the bell button if you want to stick around for more content. Thank you so much. As I've already said, join me over on Twitch where you can see more of this Grorud save unraveling as we go on, and do share with me any advice you've got over on the chat over there. We'd love to see that. Anyway, until next time when we look at more underrated screens and things like that, or some other kind of video. Haven't decided yet. But anyway, we'll see you soon. Thanks a lot.